Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, let's do this.
we live. Cool, let's do this.
Okay,
Let a few people get on. I'll introduce you to everyone, and we'll start from there. I want to be checking on my phone, so if you see me look down from time to time, that's just me checking my phone to read comments. It's going to be a lot of people maybe asking questions and
sure.
whatnot. So give me 1 second. Let me step outside the car for 1 second.
Okay.
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to our Facebook Live, sponsored by V1 Marketing Agency. I have here one of my very first employees that I ever had, Janice. Some people call her Jaja. I call her Jaja, but some people know her as Janice. She's been working with me for over, what, 2 years now? Almost
Yes,
2 years?
2 years. Yes, it's my second anniversary in August.
Oh, we got to celebrate. Yeah, she's been working with me for 2 years. She started out in the real estate investment side of things as a cold caller. And then
Hmm.
she quickly learns new things, and she took on responsibilities helping with things like dispositioning, contacting cash buyers, training, recruitment, and she eventually switched over to this V1 company that we launched, I think, last year. This time last year, I believe. Um,
Yes.
and,
No.
it's been an amazing ride with her, and I wanted to bring her on so we can go over some live training to show you guys exactly some things you should be doing in your operation. So, this is Janice. I want everybody to meet her. And Janice, why don't you kind of like introduce yourself as well and tell people about your background?
Okay. Hi everyone. So my name is Janice. A lot of people call me Jaja. That's my nickname. Okay. I started my career in the call center. Okay, I've been in the call center for more than a decade. I used to be, customer service representative, answering order entry calls, customer service calls, in a call center setting. And then I became a supervisor, then an account manager. I switched to, two different call centers in the past. But then, when I got married, I have two kids already. My youngest is a few months old. I decided to stop working in the corporate world and started freelancing, working at home. So as you can see in my background, this was actually our baby's room, which I turned into like a mini office for me. My goal with freelancing and working from home is for me to be, able to spend more time with my kids, as well as, for my family, and probably, learn a few things, here and there. I didn't stop working because, I tried. Okay, I tried stop working for like maybe a month, but it kind of like, I don't think that, being a homebody, being a plain housewife, is not for me, so I needed to do something else. So that's why I started with the real estate industry, doing cold calling, setting up appointments for other real estate investors. So I do it 8 hours a day, 8 hours of cold calling a day. Then eventually, I learned about, Antoine's hiring a cold caller for his company. That's why I decided to, apply, and it's been almost 2 years now. So with Antoine's company, I started as a cold caller, setting up appointments for him, and then decided to take on like managing social media pages, posting some marketing on social media, primarily Facebook. And then eventually, when we lost one of our team members, I took on the lead manager role, pulling up lists, uploading it to the dialer, managing the schedule of our other VAs, helping on dispositions on our websites and all these different things. And then when we started making, the VMS course last year, so kind of like I'm one of the main person, who did all of some of our digital products. I help Antoine, create those digital products, as well as taking care of some of our clients. And then I kind of like got away from the real estate business for a while, because I'm doing primarily the one for V1 marketing. Right now my main responsibility is to endorse profile VAs to different clients. I do the endorsement calls. I also take consultation calls. I'm the go-to person for most clients when they wanted to know, ask something. Also, I help on training of our VAs. So that's it for me.
Awesome. So today we're going to be bringing you guys a training. We're talking about time blocking today, right?
Yes,
So
time
today
blocking.
we're going to be talking about time blocking. That's very important. So if I was you, I would get out a piece of paper and a pen to take some notes. Janet's going to be teaching. I'm going to be here. Feel free to drop your questions after she finishes teaching. We're going to do a Q&A. Whatever questions pertaining to VAs you want to ask, we'll try our best to answer them as transparent as possible. So go ahead, Janice. I'll give you the floor, and I'll just sit here and monitor the question.
Okay, give me a second. Let me just share my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. All right. Now, remember on our VA mastery system, those clients that we have on the course, those who sign up for VA mastery system, we kind of like talk about like on managing a team, on under productivity. We created, we show you how we create schedules and task assignments for our VAs. But we didn't really, dwell on, how we did it. But this time management method is actually called time blocking. So today we're going to focus on, knowing what time blocking is, for us to be able to manage our VA's time effectively. Okay, and then of course you can use it for yourself too. I know that entrepreneurs would benefit greatly on this time management method as well. Okay, so we will define what is time blocking. Time blocking is a practice of planning out every moment of the day in advance and dedicating specific time blocks for certain tasks and responsibilities. So, in a simpler term, kind of like planning your day in chunks of time. Okay, to do certain activities, while the standard to-do list tells you what you need to do. Time blocking actually helps you, determine when are you going to do it. Okay, so it's a specific time. I'm not sure if you're one of the person who, kind of like list down all the things that you needed to do in a daily basis, and at the end of the day, kind of like a little frustrated because you weren't able to cross off all, some activities in there. You tend to procrastinate, something like that. So you weren't able to plan your day better. So time blocking helps you organize your schedule. Instead of making to-do lists, it takes productivity one step further, because you're allocating specific windows of time in your daily schedule to accomplish all tasks. So everything, finds its place. Planning ahead of time and blocking out enough time to complete all of your activities or tasks allows you to finish the things that are most important, to reach your long-term goal. So in time blocking, of course, um, prior to planning your day, I assume as entrepreneurs you already have like goals that you have set in mind. You have dreams that you wanted to achieve, something like that. So kind of like planning your day for you to be able to reach that long-term goal.
Right.
Okay. All right, so what's the benefit of time blocking? So we already mentioned that it increases productivity. So you ultimately become more productive at work because you give yourself hard stop limits. Okay, because you're blocking a specific time for you to start and stop. Okay, it discourages multitasking. So while multitasking sounds like something cool to do, I'm able to multitask, something like that. But when we multitask, we experience attention residue. So it means, our attention is divided when constantly switching between tasks. We're not robots, that we can switch gears immediately. By scheduling chunks of times for a specific task or problem, you're actually promoting deep focus work. So this is hashtag focus. Okay. All right. And the third one is stop procrastination. A lot of times when you're listing things that you wanted to do, kind of like, say an activity. You wanted to, like, put it aside or do it on another day. When time blocking, it's not procrastination because it's on your schedule, it's on your time that you need to do it. So that's why you're forced to do it. So it lets you reserve your energy and willpower by scheduling your most challenging task first. Kind of like break down larger projects into more manageable pieces. Okay, and the fourth one would be you would be able to reflect on your priorities. So at the end of your day, if you're time blocking, you would feel like you have a varied and very useful day. You'll be able to plan better your schedule going forward. More importantly, it will encourage you to fill your calendar with more meaningful entries. Okay, so that's the benefits of time blocking. Okay, now we move on. What do we need to do to get started with time blocking? Okay, so as mentioned earlier, so you have these goals, expectations when you're talking to your VA. Say you wanted to use time blocking for your VAs, kind of like have set expectations with them already. What are your goals? Something like that. What are the activities that you needed to do to achieve that specific goal? So you wanted to identify the time that you have available. For in this case, if you're working, I mean, if you're planning your VA's day, or you use time blocking for your VA schedule, you know their shift schedule. You know how many hours are they working for a day. So you need to determine your most and least productive times of the day. Say when we are working on our VA schedule, we kind of like determine like the afternoon until the early evening is the most successful time for us to do cold calling, because a lot of people will pick up the phone and answer their calls. So kind of like build their schedule in that concept. Okay, so a lot enough time. So one of the pitfalls in time blocking is you're trying to schedule your day or this specific task, and then running over it, or um, um, you have underestimated the time that you'll need to spend on that particular activity. So overestimate how long things will take, at least to start. Track how long it usually takes for you to complete certain things. Add buffers, just in case you run over. Also, add buffers too, because as I've said, you cannot switch gears that easily. And of course, reserve time for breaks, time off, and learning. You need to recharge, and the most successful people pair work with rest. So in reserving time for breaks for your VAs, um, especially when they're cold calling, like we wanted to it's very simple. Like if they are on an 8-hour shift, we wanted to make sure that they have lunch after 4 hours that they work. Okay, and then maybe 15-minute break in between cold calling, like maybe after 2 hours they get 15-minute break, and then go 2 hours again, and then they'll have an hour lunch. Okay, and block in appropriate contingency time to handle unpredictable events and interruption. And lastly, track your progress and revise as needed. At the end of the week, you need to reflect how productive you were by reviewing your calendar. So this is where you get better with planning your day, or planning your VA's day. Okay. With time blocking, it actually helps you to say no, but it's a little awkward to to say no, maybe to other people, like maybe a coworker who wanted you to help them with other things, by just showing them what you have planned for your day. it's easier to say no. And also avoid interruptions. Like, let's say, you're working on this specific project. If you don't have it in time blocks, kind of like, a lot of things interrupt you: chats from a coworker, or maybe checking on Facebook Messenger, or checking your newsfeed, something like that. So when you stick to time blocking, it helps you to say no to some people, because you can easily show them what you have on your schedule. It actually blocks a lot of interruption, or those we call, what they call that, unnecessary interruptions, or um, those things that are not very important. Okay. So this one, okay. So the next few slides, I'm gonna give you some examples of how we do time blocking for our VAs. But for this one on the screen that you would see, um, I kind of like, when I was researching about time blocking and things like that, kind of like gathering some examples of time blocking for entrepreneurs or real estate investors. I came to this one. I mean, I just found this. I just found this in Facebook. Okay, so we wanted to know, the difference between, like, and the one in purple is like a to-do list. Okay, and then the one in blue is very specific. It has time blocks. Okay, specific time that he wanted to do things. Like from 6 to 7, he wanted to wake up, meditate, review tasks and goals for the day. 7 to 8 is workout and eat breakfast. Maybe 8 to 12, doing driving for dollars. 12 to 1 is lunch. 1 to 3 is cold calling new leads. 4 to 6 is follow ups. 6 to 7 is eating dinner with family and spending quality time with them. 7 to 9 is free time. Then 9 to 10, preparation, shower, meditate, and then 10 p.m. is going to bed. While on the other side, it's like a to do list. Okay, so although she set time for time blocking, he puts in there that he needs to set and commit the schedule for driving for dollars or sitting out on bandit signs on a weekend or on days off. It's kind of like like a to-do list that you need to cross off once you're done with it. So most likely, if we would ask you, oh, which is one is, do you think you can do better, or things, I mean, to compare both lists, it would look like the one in blue is most likely the one that we can accomplish easily. It's very specific, okay, and it tells you what time you should do it. Okay, on the other hand, this one list, some tasks like maybe purchase a motivated seller list from a site, something like that. It's something that they can put off on a different day, or they can procrastinate on some things. Okay, so good.
Yeah, you good. You doing good.
Okay. All right. Now, this one, as I've said, on the VA Master program that we created before, we created a schedule. I mean, we showed you how we create schedules and task assignment for our VAs. But I guess, from that time that we did that up to now, I know that there's a lot of improvements that needs to be made on that. Specifically, blocking times for our VA's breaks, and then having some overlaps with some team members, something like that. Um, this example is a schedule that I created for one of our clients. It's just a sample, how she can do time blocking for her VAs. So she got two VAs. One VA is reporting 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. shift, or sorry, 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. shift, and the other VA is working from 2 p.m. until 7 p.m. shift. Okay, so you would see that we have plotted like breaks, specific activities in them, and then on a Wednesday, if they're meeting from 2 to 3. Okay, they have overlapping schedule from 2 to 3, so they get to have their team meeting on a Wednesday. Okay, so On this schedule, assuming it, that the first VA is more experienced, she can do like list pulling, skip tracing, and do marketing and social media posts, something like that. It's kind of like wanted to plan her day, like say on a Monday, you wanted to have new lists to be skip traced and uploaded on your dialer. And then she can make follow-up calls to warm leads that you got from the previous week, do some cold calling, have breaks in between, and then towards the end of the day both of them would be updating their trackers and sending daily agent reports. Okay, and then on this example as well, if you've noticed, one VA, the first VA is the morning VA, has Saturday, Sunday off, while the other VA has one day off on a weekday and then a day off on a Sunday. So if you'd like to do, if you have multiple VAs, you wanted to schedule their time offs as well. Like say one person wanted to go on leave, you need to plot it as well. This one is built on I did this on an Excel sheet or Google sheet, but you can do time blocking on Google Calendar as well. I think it's easier. Okay, so whatever works for you guys, just make sure you have to list down all of the activities that you would have for your VAs, so the things that you would delegate for your VAs. Okay, and then estimate the time that they will be spending on those tasks. Okay, and then plot it and create a schedule for them. Okay, so this one, okay, I can have I can have these two VAs on alternating Saturday shift. So we kind of wanted to create their schedule a month in advance, for them to plan their. Of course, they have their own life, or also they have their own family. So they wanted to make sure that they are informed that on this specific Saturday they were reporting for work. Okay. Now just a sample of a schedule that we'll do for two VAs with overlapping schedule. Now this time blocking is just for one VA, probably reporting 10 a.m. till 7 p.m. shift. Okay, so it'll probably look like that. So this person is doing two marketing, okay, one in SMS and also doing cold calling in the afternoon. This schedule is built with an idea that most people would pick up their phone and answer calls in the afternoon. Okay. Okay, and then SMS, they'll have to send it the beginning of their day, responding to text messages, and then follow it up with making follow up calls on their warm leads, and then kind of insert maybe some admin task here and there, but you wanted to make sure that you communicate to your VA. Um, you wanted to decide on estimating the time that they'll spend on those marketing or admin tasks, but you wanted to get feedback from your VA as well. How long are they going to take? How long is going to take for them to say do generation, something like that.
Right.
Mhm. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so in time blocking, I guess the most important thing that we would need to leave with everybody is we have to stick to the schedule. So you need to do your best to start and stop in time and according to plan. This time management technique lets you plan how you'll use your time. Doing it well can maximize your effectiveness and reduce stress levels. Having something to look forward to after completing a task will motivate you to finish on time. That's it. That's my presentation.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody give Janice Jaja a round of applause. Listen, we ain't done. We just getting started. We got a ton of questions that people are asking, and we're gonna answer them. Can you see the questions? If you click over to the right hand side and click comments, you can be able to
Yes.
see the question. So I'm gonna start putting different questions on the screen so people can be able to see, because we're streaming on my Antoine Campbell business page. We're streaming in multiple groups that we own, and we're
Mhm.
streaming on YouTube. Most importantly, we gotta hit the YouTube. I love YouTube. So let's start. If you have questions now, this is the perfect time to drop your questions. If you're struggling with your VA, this is the perfect time. Drop your questions. Most of your struggling is coming from time management, time blocking, and
Mhm.
not being able to take the time to do the things you need to do. As far as having a weekly meeting, as far as creating a schedule and actually setting expectation within a schedule that your VAs know what they should be doing at a certain time of the day. So we're gonna start with Mike. Give me one second. Let me.
Okay, so I got a question here. How do VAs clock in? Okay, right now we're using Hubstaff. Okay, which let us track our VA's working hours. Okay, it captures 10. It captures screenshot every 10 minutes, so we know that they're working.
Yeah. So Mike asks, I'm looking to hire my first VA. What do you think should be my first hire? I was considering a lead manager because I'm good with seller appointments.
What do you think should be your first hire? Um, okay. I'm considering a lead manager because I'm good with the seller appointment. So, is Mike gonna be doing the cold calling himself?
It's me. Don't know. I'm
Okay,
assuming.
probably. I mean, so you wanted to make sure that you hire a VA who has experience with pulling up lists or organizing lists for you. Someone with it that has experience in doing scrubbing lists, Excel, a lead manager. If you're gonna be the one who would do cold calling.
Right.
Yep. But typically, clients are or real estate investors are hiring cold callers first. Okay, and then they would add another one to their team. The team would grow, and then would assign somebody to be a lead manager. Who would help them with managing their lists, uploading it to the dialer, scheduling their VAs, and even coaching their cold callers.
And even sometimes, like another tip is uh hire a cold caller with the traits and the characteristics to be able to be promoted to a lead manager once you're
Mhm.
ready to make that transition. Then you can slowly start adding them tasks on that cold caller. Hey, pull this from here, do this for me, check this for me. And but if you're primarily going to be focused on closing, I definitely say you should be focusing on a cold caller that can turn into a lead manager.
Mhm.
Because think about it this way: what leads are you managing if no one's calling? So hopefully that answers your question. So let's move on to the next question. Because I know you got appointments today.
No, no, me, no,
Yeah. Oh, good. What?
no. I just have like a VA training later today,
Okay.
but I'm good.
So someone asks, is there a system you use to manage the VA?
Hub staff manage their time. We manage our VA's time through Hub staff. We plot time offs. Um, they apply. We have a form that they need to fill out when they need to apply for a time off or vacation. So like
Right.
yeah, hub staff. We also plot in like their schedule. So hub staff send us notification when they're late for work, when they have abandoned their shift, which means they logged off, or they're expected to work like say 5 hours a day, and then they
Right.
logged off like maybe after 4 hours and a half of working. So a notification would be sent to our email. So we would know that immediately. Okay.
Right.
Aside from, of course, utilizing, the free stuff that we have. I mean, Google Sheets and a Google Calendar too. So I use Google Calendar to manage Antoine's time.
Definitely. Because my schedule is actually I am considering cutting back like half of the stuff I'm doing. Like I'm about to stop it. Just so I can free up some time. So I can be more focused. I feel like I'm all over the place. So we have another question. On average, how many calls is expected for a VA to make per 8 hours?
Um. Okay. First and foremost, I don't recommend your VAs to like cold call for the entire 8 hours.
Right.
Okay, on their sixth or seventh hour, they don't sound as good as they were on their first 3 hours. That's the reality. Cold calling is a tedious job. Um, but if you're asking how many calls they're gonna make in 8 hours, depends on the tool that you're using. Okay, like if you are in a triple dialer in Mojo, an hour they could make like 100 to 120 calls per hour. It also depends on their contact rate as well.
Right. And
Hmm.
let's talk about contact rate while we got you on here.
Okay.
Um, some people think that their contact rate is bad because of their data. Well, we found out that you told me, right? I don't know everything, right? I'm an open book too. Was it sometimes the way the VA's disposition the call what makes the contact rate go down? Can you explain to everyone that may be watching how to properly disposition the call so it won't affect the contact rate?
Okay. Um, yeah. So you need to make sure that your VAs are attacking the calls correctly. Okay, so I know that, and also kind of like split test your script as well. So a lot of people are using the opening spiel, like hi, I'm looking for Antoine. They're looking for the gatekeeper, the homeowner.
Right,
Okay, I
right,
wanted to speak specifically to that person. Well, most people would pick up the phone and thinking that you're a telemarketer, or thinking that you're selling them something. Even if you spoke with that person, they would say that you have a wrong number and hang up. Okay, so in the VA's mind, that is wrong number. I have a wrong number, so there's no Antoine that's living in this house. So they would disposition it in a wrong number. While another approach in doing cold calling would be, you're not looking for a specific person, but you kind of like wanted to come to them, someone who is apologetic. I'm so sorry, taking I'm disturbing you, or I'm sorry, this call is out of the blue. And then would introduce themselves like, hey, I'm a local real estate investor, looking for to buy houses in the area. Something like that. It's kind of like that specific approach. You already got the message across to them. Hey, we're not telemarketers. We're not selling you something. We're local real estate buyer. We're just wondering if you're interested in selling your property, something like that. So um, um, you have to look at two things when you are checking on your contact rate to determine what caused your contact rate to drop. First is what's happening on their calls, and then how are they tagging their calls.
right.
So I know that we have one incident in the past with one of our VAs boss, wherein he's tagging the calls incorrectly. And also we wanted to make sure that we get the report from the dialer that you're using, either Mojo or Call Tools, to see in I think one incident wherein um, she has a lot of like line errors.
Right.
Okay, she may have some drop on her internet. May have like some issues with the internet. It produces a lot of line errors on Mojo. So it would still add up on the total number of calls. Wherein I only I wasn't only able to speak with like a few people. So it would drop your contact rate.
Awesome. So, someone asked, do you use call tools for your VAs or something else?
We use Call Tools.
Yeah. And the reason why we switched over to call tools is because of the ability to coach the VAs while they on a live call. That really
Hmm.
interests me. And now all of our VAs are going through live training. In the
Hmm.
past, we didn't do live training. We did a lot of role playing. And so we are able to whisper in their ear and say, "Hey, ask more about this, ask more about that,
Hmm.
bring up this and bring up that." And now we are able to give them the hands-on live training that they need in order to be successful to the client. So if you guys don't know, we own and manage a virtual assistant company, and we specialize in primarily recruiting VAs and training them and providing quality VAs to the marketplace. So if you're interested in the VA, definitely reach out to us. VAMasterysystem.com. Fill out the form. Our sales manager, Darlene, will reach out to you
Hmm.
to figure out what options you have to help you in the best way possible. So let me
Great.
see if I got any new. Oh, this is a good one right here. What do
Hmm.
you discuss during the weekly meetings? Because sometimes you lead the meetings, I lead the meetings, you lead the meetings. I'm really big on sharing power. I think that's
it,
really awesome to share power with your team. So let's talk
so
about what do you discuss.
so weekly meetings varies. Sometimes your weekly meeting doesn't have to necessarily have like the heavy stuff. Sometimes we spend like an hour just talking about our family, ourselves, right, boss?
Right, definitely.
So we wanted to catch up with everyone. How are they doing, especially with the time that we have right now, and I hope that you and your family are safe, everyone, during this difficult time. So we wanted to catch up with everybody. Everybody's doing okay. What's going on with them, with their family. So we would be able to, have, we have a support system within the team. So weekly meetings, I primarily discuss, in the opening, like our stats. How many calls we made, how many leads we got, what are their status of their leads. We wanted also to our acquisitions manager to participate and give us feedback on those appointments that our co-callers or appointment setters are setting up for her. Okay,
Right.
like say, it actually, helped us as co-callers, even in the past when I was co-calling, for us to better filter our lead on our end, prior to passing it over to our acquisitions manager. So she may tell us, like say, this person I called, they're not really interested in selling, they just wanted to know, they're just curious how much we
Right.
can offer them, something like that. Or this person, they're just, it's like, they're not very serious, or they're just joking us, or kind of like wanting to speak to someone else. Okay, wanting to check if the company is legit because they're receiving a lot of calls. Those feedback, the feedback that are coming in from acquisitions manager, we value because it helps our co-callers or appointment setters filter the leads better prior to setting up appointments for acquisitions managers to take in. Okay, so aside from stats, feedback from our acquisitions manager, on the status of our leads. We also talk about, like, new initiatives, what's working, what's not. It's something that we can continue, or something that we should start doing.
Yes.
Those.
I agree. To sum it up, we talk about things, stats. We talk about personal things. And guys, sometimes if your teammate is struggling, that's not the opportunity to beat them up. That's the opportunity to get to the root of the problem. We all go through personal issues. We all go through depression. We all go through a lot, and you have to be there for one another to encourage them. So sometimes your team meeting might not even be business. It might just be straight counseling session where you're encouraging each other. So don't ever be shy to be vulnerable to your team to really show them how you care about them.
Mhm. Yep. Okay.
Well, I gotta put this on here real quick. They said she's a beast. God bless her. You got some fans, Jaja. You popular. Everybody talk about you. Let me see if they ask this question right. Using time blocking, can you set up a VA to cold call, pick up calls, then return information to the investor? I think you can.
Okay.
But go ahead and ask the
Yes.
question.
Okay, but it's gonna be very difficult for you to doing cold calling and at the same time getting inbound calls.
Yeah,
That's why Boss B set up our call rail to go to voicemail. Okay, and then after our VA's cold call, then they will return those calls.
right.
Those who called us on our tracking numbers, or our caller, I mean, the caller IDs that we set up on our dialer. Okay, we created that in call rail, and we set up a specific call flow for it to go to specific recording, for our VAs to return those calls after they make those cold calling. We also block a certain time on the calendar for them to return those calls. Those are the
Right.
follow-up calls that they do. Okay, so yeah, it's possible, but it gets harder for a VA to do cold calling, especially in multiple dialers. Cold calling at the same time, answering an inbound calls. They cannot do that.
And honestly, I always say this, right? Even on the course, if you don't have the course, you definitely should grab the course, especially when we do this upgrade. We doing VA Mastery Recharge. I say this: don't spread your people too thin, right? Don't be afraid to go out and hire somebody, whether they part time, whether they on call, because what happens is you reduce the quality of your workforce. if you give them too many responsibilities. And now they're trying to keep up and they're going to be struggling. So I definitely say when you feel in your heart that they're spread too thin, don't hesitate to spend the money to get to the next level.
Hmm. Okay, and that's one thing that we apply. I mean, we started this year as well, boss, wherein we have a specific person just doing SMS campaign,
Yeah.
right?
Actually, I just made a
So,
call. We need one more. So we doubling down on SMS. I just
okay,
talked to
and then.
Lynn.
Mhm,
Yeah. And let's talk about the point system. Man, I feel so bad. Yesterday, someone had got terminated. I don't really want to speak on it that much, but I want to touch on following the point system and how effective that makes your
mhm.
operation when you have a tool that can hold your people accountable.
Yep. Boss, on next week, okay, we're gonna do lead management. A lead manager blueprint, for everyone to know if it is for them to hire a lead manager, and at the same time, what are the core responsibilities of a lead manager. So one of the things that we will discuss is a lead manager is managing the VA's time, all other VA's time, and track their attendance, and of course the attendance points.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm,
So next week we'll cover that. I can't wait. I think Lynn's going to be on the call. She's very smart and very transparent. She's a rock star. Shouts out to Regina for recruiting some amazing people in the last 4 months. So let's talk about. Someone asks. Let me put it on the screen. How much vacation do you give, and do you pay for time off? I guess you can attest to what I do. I can't speak for anybody else because I don't try to make this a standard. I just do it. My
mhm,
rule of thumb is if your person get to 1 year working with you, give them at least a 1 week paid vacation. If
mhm,
there's a death in the family or something ill, give them PTO, paid time off, and just respect your people and treat them like humans. What's your take on it?
mhm. Okay, so vacations. Our rule of the thumb is that they need to notify us a week or maybe 2 weeks in advance, for them to take their time off. So if it's like a newer employee that we have, it's usually not paid. Okay, depending on the situation, we wanted to give like flexibility for our VAs, but to a certain point, if they have something important to attend to, they file their time off, we would definitely approve it.
Right,
Okay, so we understand that's why they're working from home, is for them to be able to to attend to their kids' school activities, for them to get have more time with their family. So we have some flexibility on that. We definitely approve time off, depending on the reason, of course. For them to get more time spent with their family, notify us in advance, and we'll plot it in Hubstaff.
right,
Okay, and
right,
then for pay time off, I know that in the past, like last year, we had some death in the family for one of our team members. So we understand that she has been in the hospital a lot to take care of her mom, and then comes the death in the family, those things. So um, we don't want to force them to go to work. I mean, we wanted them to go to work when they're ready.
right.
That's it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, they love you, Janice. I want you to read this real quick.
Who's that? I can read the name.
Yeah,
Thank
some
you.
people they got to click the little stream yard so they can show the name, but they didn't click it, so it won't show their name.
Okay.
So let me see if I see any more questions. If a seller asks, okay, this might be something you can answer.
Okay. So, if a seller asks the VA, "Where are you from?" Do you say the Philippines? Yes and no. Yes, but not immediately. Okay. So we wanted to communicate to them that we're working for a local real estate investor. Our corporate office is in Maryland, or something like that. So you wanted to answer that first, and then if they are not satisfied, they wanted to know more about you. For Antoine, it's okay for us to say that we're working remotely. We're working remotely, and we're actually in the Philippines. But you wanted to think about how often does this question come up?
Right.
Where are you from?
Right.
And
I
you
don't
wanted
think
to
you get
like
that question a
evaluate.
lot.
If the seller sense that you have an accent, if they hear somebody on, I mean, something on your background, like babies in the background, or maybe you
Or them
know,
chickens.
rooster. Okay, yeah. So you wanted to evaluate also how often this it usually comes up, and listen to your VA's calls.
Yeah, we've been on this call for about 45 minutes and I haven't heard one chicken. So, can you give some advice to VAs listening and looking on to
Mm-hmm.
how important it is to control the chickens in the background so we can get you a
You
job?
can,
It's
you
been a
can.
lot of people that we had to like, hey, we can't work with you or get you a client because it's too many chickens in the background. So, like, can you
Yeah.
get some advice? I know for a fact there's a few people in this probably VAs that's looking on.
I know that we have rejected a few applicants in the past, boss, wherein, when we were talking to them, we heard, some things in the background, babies in the background, chicken in the background, those things. I'm sorry, still got asthma, but when you committed, when for myself, when I stopped working in the corporate office, in the corporate world, in I'm working in one of the biggest call centers here in my area. So when I stopped working, and I stopped working for like maybe a month or a few weeks, trying to do a lot of research on how to become or somebody who would be working from home. So kind of like did a lot of research, read a lot of stuff, joining a lot of Facebook groups and stuff like that for me
Right.
to be able to learn something. And the commitment that I have into working from home is that's why we have um, transform this little space in the house to become my office, because I know that I'll be cold calling, or that I know that I would be making some calls, because this is my career. I cannot deny that my bread and butter is my communication skills, that I speak a lot. Okay. And I know that when I was looking for a job to start working from home, at some point I'll be doing some calls, so I need a quiet space. So I transformed this office in the house, this little office in the house. um I wanted to make sure that when I'm calling or scheduled to call someone or a meeting, I close all my windows and my doors, so my kids know that I'm working at night. So, and I also have like members of the family know that I'm working at night. Working on this specific schedule, so that they shouldn't be bothering me, or they need to tend to my kids, or they shouldn't knock on my door. And make sure that you have this kind of like a workflow within your household, that's like, say, hey, I have a meeting, or say, hey, I'm going to be doing my cold calling. So you need to turn off the TV if it's too loud, lower the volume and things like that. But you need to have really a space in the house where you can do cold calling, or do some calls. I close all the windows, I close all the doors, lock my doors, so I can begin working.
Awesome. So, let me see. I think it's a few more. We're gonna try to wrap it up in a few more minutes, but I like this is where the value comes when you able to ask. People are able to ask questions. Maybe they haven't purchased a product from us. Maybe they're curious. Maybe they are struggling and they just don't know that we offer something like this. So, can you tell them in a nutshell, before I get to the rest of these questions, why is it important to hire a company like V1 to help you with your outsourcing needs?
Okay. So, V1 marketing and training has spent a lot of time formulating um, these training materials for the VAs. We have very rigid, or um, we are. I think it's something that Regina would be able to answer when it comes to like um, hiring VAs. We have a stricter standards when we are interviewing people. Okay, so of course we wanted to make sure that they have a background in call center, that they are comfortable on the phone. They did some outbound sales, that's preferable, and of course experience in cold calling and setting up appointments. If they don't have any experience in cold calling and setting up appointments in a real estate industry, or in a real estate setting, we would make sure that they would be given, the training that they need. The VAs that we're endorsing to clients are ready. Um, they're ready, to take, to service you, to provide good quality service for you guys. Right now, we're constantly improving our formula, to say. Okay,
Right,
right now the new initiative that we have in place is that we have the trainees, okay, go through a nesting period with us, wherein they would be co-calling for Antoine's real estate company for a few hours each week. So we're utilizing call tools for that, so we'll be able to, coach them real time on their calls. We would evaluate them to an actual cold calling, not just doing role playing.
right. Right. We got so much feedback. I'm gonna blow through all these questions because I definitely don't want to leave any questions unanswered. Guys, listen, this is not the only time we're doing this live. As a company, we realize that we have to be more out there talking to people and letting them know what we do. And we having these lives every week at 2 o'clock. Next week you get my lead manager. The week after next, you get the SMS manager. She's going to come in and show you how she's generating between 5 to 10 hot leads a day for our
Hmm.
company. She's literally. I'm gonna try to convince her to do some texting. I don't know how legal it is to text on Facebook and why people watching, but I'm gonna talk to a lawyer to see if that's okay. And if that's okay, then we're gonna try to do open up a text campaign right before your eyes and show you how we follow up and prospect, so you guys can learn that. So let me run through some more of these questions real quick. I probably answer a lot of these questions so we can hurry up and get done. How many? Let me see. Do people? Someone asked, do we have VAs that speak both Spanish and English? No, we do not, but we are expanding. We're working on some major stuff in the background. My team told me, shut up, be quiet, stop telling everything I know. Um, that's something I'm working on now. So if you see I'm really quiet, that's why Jana's on here to make sure I don't tell every goddamn thing we're doing. So that being said, we're looking to do some amazing things in the next 45 days. So we're entertaining, bringing on American VAs. We're entertaining, bringing on Spanish type of VAs. And we'll get once we're ready for that, we'll get into details. But if you guys are interested in actually getting cold calling training, we now have that set in place where you pay us $99 for the 3 hour session, and we'll get you tightened up with some cold calling training. That's even for you or for your VA. It's up to you. Um, do you do? Someone asked, do you do ongoing customer service training with the VAs? Yes, we do. Janice is our onboarding person. She's the person that really helps with training, as well as Regina. But we always have ongoing training. If you have any issues, you can call into the office. We work with you. We try our best to make customer service our number one priority.
Hmm. Okay,
Any
and
feedback to that?
and also just some reminder to those clients who paid for the service. I endorsed a VA to you a few weeks ago. I'm reaching out to everyone to see if they have any feedback with their VA, if there's anything that we can help them with. But as you don't want to get the you don't want to have like the problem it's been there for a long time before you reach out to us. As you know, I'm here, and Darlene is also will be able to assist you. We have a help desk that you can create tickets, submit tickets. And if you're having problems with your VA, we're here. We're here to help you.
Man, I, I don't know how many times people say, Joshua, you're amazing, but you're truly amazing. Like I told you all the time, even outside of Facebook Live, you're a blessing to my family. All of the team members, all 13 of us, I stopped counting, but all of us is a blessing to what we got going on. We help each other in ways that we can't imagine. So, someone said, I love your work. Wish we could see you more online. Your advice are yours. So, Jaja, we got to get you out the background and get you in the forefront because they love you. Got a few more questions. I'm just speeding through 'em. Question, Antoine, do you go through the list before passing it to your VAs, or do they pull it themselves? I'm at a point in my career where I feel comfortable with giving my VAs that responsibility. That takes a lot of
Mhm,
faith into your
mhm,
team. You have to be around people you trust to do that. So don't just straight do that out the gate. Get
mhm,
familiarized with your people. There are a lot of VAs out here that are very, very bad people. Just like there are a lot of people. So make sure that trust is the the backbone of your relationship because you have to be able to trust your VAs. I see VAs all the time selling other people's leads, but that's none of my business. And over here at V1, we do not tolerate that. That's the reason why when we first set up our company, we didn't even want no problems of setting up people lead campaigns and messing with their polio and all of that because we didn't want them allegations on us. So definitely watch the people that you bring on board. And if
Hmm.
anybody from our team that we gave to you did something unethical, we automatically terminate them and replace a VA for you as a courtesy.
Hmm. Okay. So initially, with regard to the list, boss, kind of like gave me some criteria.
Right,
Okay, some guidelines, so I can pull the list myself. Okay, like say, on the zip code, we wanted to make sure that we are pulling up lists, this criteria, how many bedrooms and bathrooms, specific, like a price range and things like that. So kind of like gave me a guideline before I started pulling up my list, so it didn't go to you anymore.
right. So I personally don't really pull lists as much unless I'm planning on opening up a new market. But
Right.
the VAs, they do a really awesome job. Will pull a list. They understand how to extract the motivated sellers out the list, and I'm just there helping them, like whatever things they need. There's a lot of proprietary tools that we don't even speak on. We don't even put some of that in our training because it's for my personal business. But once you find something that works for you, definitely hold it close to your chest. And once you're ready to let a person use that type of system or software, let them use it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm just adding some links. People are interested in our courses. A lot of people don't even know we have a course that teaches this. We're the only people in the industry that start focus on training American business owners to be able to manage their VAs.
Hmm.
And we're looking to really tighten up that process. We learned so much over the past year doing this business. And the VA Mastery Recharge will be nothing more than the Bible of virtual assistant management, in my opinion. So we're working on it now. We got the outline laid out. Now I just got to start dropping the courses. And all my products, Janice actually helped me with. I record them, she edit them, she put them in the software, and
Hmm.
yeah, she really helped me. So I can't wait to get back in the studio. I feel like a rapper. I can't wait to get back in the studio and drop some hits for these courses.
Okay. All right. What is your question again, boss? Did you ask me something? Sorry.
No, I ain't asking no question. I'm just talking. You know
Okay.
me, I just go off the script and start talking. Let me see. Someone said, "Do you have VAs that specialize in website design and social media?" Janice, I guess can answer that question. We have a part of our business we haven't released yet. I can speak on that. That we're going to be specialized in SEO, website designs,
Mhm.
applications, and all of that. So we're going to release that phase of the company, probably the summertime once we get someone that can help us with
Mhm.
the sales side of it to figure out what do you need.
Mhm. Okay, and that depending on the kind of website design that you, I mean, if they're starting a website from scratch, or just help you post something on your social media pages, it depends. For the usual creation of content or posters for your social media accounts or business pages, your VA can do that. It's as easy as going to Canva. They have templates in there. And they can create those posters for you. But with regards to, like, say, I help with Anton's website, but they're actually built in Investor Carrot already, so it has templates already that I can edit, and put pictures in, put our the properties that we have for sale. So it's easier because we have a template. But of course, you wanted somebody who specializes on those things if they're building, a website from scratch.
So someone asked, I think it was Charles, my guy from Texas. He said, "What's the cost?" We have a simple operation. You got two ways to get a VA from us. One, you pay for the VA mastery course. It automatically comes with a complimentary VA, up to two VAs. Two, you can just pay a flat fee. Sorry, a flat fee of $500. Um, and we will that money would go towards us, but we will find recruit, and train your VA for you and match you with the best VA possible. We always interview them weekly. We have a full time recruiter. We have now a full time trainer. We have a full time onboarding person. So we have the team that you need for all your outsourcing needs. And the beautiful thing about us, we offer a 6 month warranty on your VA, which means if something happens outside of your control, and you did everything you're supposed to do, we will replace that VA as a courtesy. So
And
um,
of course, attendance is no tolerance. I mean, zero tolerance in
yeah,
attendance.
yeah.
If your VA keep missing work, always late or absent, no questions asked. We're gonna replace that VA for you.
Exactly. We have a our company has a zero tolerance policy when it comes to attendance and anything unethical related. Maybe stealing time, maybe forging time, maybe no call. Well, attendance falls on a no call no show, but maybe just being doing something very unethical that we don't tolerate. We will get rid of that person immediately for you. And the beautiful thing about us, the VA works directly for you, so you are able to be a little more creative and do things that you would like them to do. So
Hmm.
that's the good thing. Let me see. That's a long question, but I know you work hands on with the VAs the first 2 weeks when we get them, but do you help coach them if they want to help pull lists and skip trace other than cold calls? Because I know y'all focus on that. Well, I tell you this: if you are a VA master client, we have a secret course called the VA Vault that's produced by Janice, and literally the VA Vault has all these videos and tutorials to show you your VA how to skip trace and pull list and all of that great stuff. So get the VA Master if you don't have it, and we will send you the VA vault.
Hmm.
Am I
And at
correct,
some
Janice?
point, yes, and at some point, your VA knows what list pulling and skip tracing is. They just don't know how to properly start it. You need to probably allocate some time for them to like watch videos on YouTube, Google it, research on it. They can also reach out to us if they have any questions or concerns. Pulling up lists is one of the things that we teach them on training as well. We gave them a sample, like a video that I created on how to pull up lists. So even if you're in PropStream, RealFlow, or any other platforms that you pull up lists to, it's kind of like this, the same. The idea is the same. You wanted to make sure that you're clear in communicating to your VA what your buying criteria is. Look, the zip code where they're pulling up list, and all those, details for them to be able to pull up that specific list that you are going to cold call. Skip tracing, on the other hand, we don't recommend for your VAs to, manually skip trace phone numbers on for the list for them to call. Um, we have Easy Skip Tracing Company, okay, which
Easy
lets you,
skip trace,
do
baby. Come on over. We That's
yeah.
our sister company. They'll take good care of you. We
Mhm,
actually have a salesperson dedicated to that company as well. And you reach out to them, you tell them what list you want. We provide free lists as a courtesy, as long as you skip to us, and we'll take care of you. We know the list that works, and we can give you our recommended list, or you can tell us what you want, and we'll pull it and skip it for you. Do you
mhm,
train your VAs to make offers? Listen, that's a very touchy subject. Uh, Training a VA to make offers takes a lot of time and effort. We have a virtual acquisition trainer. I'm doing my last set of virtual acquisition training. I'm done with it. I'm literally cutting back half of the things I'm doing now to focus more on my business to get it to the next level. So if you want to join the virtual acquisition training, it's a flat fee of $1,000. It's 6 weeks training. I will show you everything I know about virtual acquisition and how to lock up deals over the phone, like I've done personally. And get on it because I'm not offering any more to the public. Let's move on to the next question because we're almost done. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. All the questions almost done. Is it possible to listen to the phone calls your VA's training and for customer service concerns? Yes. Yes. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. Hey, bro, I'm gonna call you back on the middle of Facebook Live. I don't know. You there? I I bet I'm gonna text her, tell you about to come outside. My bad, y'all. That's some money. Well, yeah. So what I was saying, the virtual acquisition training. So the virtual acquisition training, guys, listen, we're not trying to pitch you. We're just trying to open your horizons and open your eyes so you'll know the things that are available to you. That way you won't be struggling. My whole goal with doing all of what I'm doing is to help as many people as possible. But at the same time, you got to be able to help yourself in the process too. We the one thing about working with us, we're not promising you no magic pill. We're not promising you we're going to help you close 10 deals next month. We're not promising you anything. Of that. But what we're promising you is we're going to give you a fair, equal opportunity to be as successful as you want to be, as long as you yourself is committed to do the work. If you can do that, I promise you, you can close deals. And listen, we haven't we grew this company so fast and so big without Facebook ads, without our clients really giving us testimonies. Even though they give it to us, we chose not to post yet. But we're going to start being more transparent to show people the success stories that most clients are receiving with their VA. Do you give your VA a bonus? Yes, I give my VA a bonus. I believe in incentivizing everybody in your circle. For the cold callers, they get $50 per deal that we get on the contract, and if the deal closed, they get $250. And that's the way I pay my people, and they happy. Far as like admin stuff or stuff outside of cold calling, you pay them based on company revenue and performances, and you give them a nice chunk and take care of them. Do you need to have an LLC in order to hire VA? Here's the trick, guys. You don't need an LLC. What you're going to write your VA salary as marketing. Your VAs is part of your marketing budget because most of your VAs are doing what we call outbound marketing anyway. So the same way you pay for direct mail, the same way you pay for prop string, you would categorize that under as marketing. That way you don't have to worry about paying taxes, no W-2s, no 1099s, none of that crazy crap. It's just a marketing expense. Do we get do we get to choose a VA or do you pick one for us? I can explain that James can double back on it. We typically pre-pick your VA, so we'll build a profile based on you and your needs and wants, and then we try our best to narrow it down to match it to at least one or two VAs that we feel is a good fit for you. And, if you get someone 10 different VAs to choose from, they're gonna take 3 months to figure out who they want. But we do a good job at matching and pairing people based on their personalities, if they're alpha, if they're not an alpha, if we do all of that stuff in the background, so you won't have to worry about it.
Mhm. Okay, and clients once they paid us to hire VAs for them, they get to like submit a form. Okay, it has questions in there. They need to be specific on the things that they wanted for the VA. I mean, specific things that they're looking for a VA. They need to put in there. So I'll be able to match you with the right VA. The problem with that we have recently with like a client, talking to different VAs and only hiring one, is that sometimes they like all the VAs and they cannot decide.
You know what that means? You know what that means? Our recruitment is impeccable. So,
Mhm. So
um,
yeah, so they speak to a bunch of VAs, maybe three, four VAs, and then later on would come back to me like they're all good, they've answered all my questions, and I'm not sure who to go to. Kind of like wanted to involve me with the decision making process as well, in terms of like me, and knowing this VA better than them. So I'll have to like maybe like give them a recap, like say VA1 is like this, has experience with like this and this one. They kind of like involve me with the decision process for them to be able to hire the best VA they think would probably fit their company or their team.
okay, so give me a second. I'm trying to pull something up, y'all. Hey, I just want to tell you, you did an awesome job. You need to come back on the Facebook Live and do your thing. Next time, you don't need me. You can do it by yourself. Um, let me. I want to read off the calendar to everyone so they can know what to expect. And the marketing department will do a good job of making sure that we send out emails to let everybody know what day we're going live. It was amazing. It was, collectively, we have over 65 people watching simultaneously on multiple platforms. You can't see it. Maybe on your platform, it may show 20 people, 15 people, but we're broadcasting on three different platforms. Thank you. Uh, did I miss? Oh, I went back too far. Okay, so we did today with Job. On the 14th next week we have our lead manager Lynn. She's going to be talking about lead management. So guys, if you was wondering how the lead management stuff works, the core task and responsibilities. And then the 21st of the month, we have Dana. Oh man, that's a good hire. I hired her sitting in front of the gas station in Harrisburg in the middle of a thunderstorm. I said, "Hey, darling, put her on the clock tomorrow." Because the one thing that you guys got to understand that I just found out, and Janice maybe just found out not too long ago, you got to hire quickly because even if you tell the VAs they hired, they're going to continue to look for jobs and then they're going to roll out and find somebody else and they're going to go ghost on you. So you got to make the decision. You can't think on it. Know what you want, and I promise you, you'll be good. And then Reg, our recruiter, Regina, she's a very awesome lady. She's going to be talking about the VA selection
Let me try
and
that.
or the hiring process. And then Carol, Carol is our trainer, correct? There you go. Thank you. Carol, our trainer, is going to be talking about common seller questions and objections. Uh, and we're going to be trying to do these every month.
Mhm.
It may be different topics. It may be the same topics. I don't know. I'm going to make sure we be consistent at it and rotate all of my team members to really teach on certain things. So if you have any questions, I definitely say pay for the VA Mastery because once you're part of VA Mastery, you're like a family. We take care of you. We go above and beyond for you. We work with your VAs after hours. We have a help desk. You get treated like royalty. So that being said, I'm gonna wrap this live up. Got any questions? I mean, you got any thing you want to tell everybody? Anything you want to talk about before we go?
Uh, no, I think that's all that I have. Okay, so yeah, I'm recapping what we have talked about time blocking. Make sure that you stick with your schedule. Um, um create time blocking for the schedules for your VAs, and make sure that they stick with it. Okay, it's probably a guide. They may run over some, a few minutes, things like that. But we wanted to make sure that you are also inserting time offs and breaks. We're not machine. I just wanted to,
Not a
and
robot.
we cannot shift gears immediately, so kind of like wanted to put in some buffers in there as well. Talk to your VAs about the most comfortable time, or when you're estimating time for them to do specific task. So yeah, so always is, communication is the key, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much. We're gonna end the broadcast, boss.
We're going to end it. It's going to be saved on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it as many times as you want. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube, take your butt over to the Antoine Campbell YouTube channel. Subscribe ASAP. As well as if you're watching YouTube and you're not even subscribed, why are you watching my channel and not subscribed? That's shame on you. Click the button below, subscribe, and I promise you, we're going to bring more content. Until next time, sacrifice now, ball forever. See you guys next week. Adios.
Bye.